What's up, everybody? I am live here with the bad boy of the dating game, Mr. Lucario. How you doing, buddy? Nice to see you again.
I'm chilling. What's going on with you? How's everything?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling because it is really chilly here in Arizona.
Yeah.
But just relaxing, I'm just got started up doing podcasting again. I've been taking breaks on and off because I've been getting busy with my other business and everything. And I try not to forget about the podcast. So I just love doing this stuff and everything, getting on and just, talking about like mindset stuff, girl stuff, and all sorts of things just to help people out.
That's what's up. That's cool, man. You gotta find time to get everything in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Well, once I can, kind of make my other time, my job like a full-time gig, my side business, then I can balance my time a little more.
Right.
Exactly. So what's going on with you?
I'm good. Just doing what I do usually, just doing a lot of videos, coaching, just working on different things. You know what I'm saying? Working on some music, everything. You know what I mean? So.
That's right. I've heard some of your raps.
Yeah.
I've seen them on YouTube and everything. That is very cool.
Yeah.
I like how what is it? Do a little rap about game and stuff in there.
Yeah, try to put some of the information in there so people could, just understand different aspects of the game through hearing the music. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's good. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. Okay, so let's talk about game. So what is game?
Yeah, so this interesting. I like this topic because I always like when I get to explain what game is and what it's about. And one of the things that people got to understand about game is that game, basically, when we talk about the game, is just synonymous with life. So we say the game or we say game, we're talking about life in general, like everything in life. Now, what happens is that when we talk about having game, all having game means is that you have a skill or strategy to get what you want out of life. You understand? And so based off of you getting certain outcomes, like if you get desired outcomes, that means that your game is usually strong. And if you get undesirable outcomes or you don't get the outcomes you want, that means that your game is weak. So that means, you're not really necessarily strong in your game if you're not getting what you want, and you are strong in your game if you're getting what you want. And so that expands all across the board. Now, the problem is people think that when we talk about game, it's just about getting women. But if we're talking about the content or the context of women, then we're talking about that topic of women in the game, but the game isn't about women because the game could be about anything. I mean, it's about yourself, but the topic could be about anything. So we could be talking about business, we could be talking about fitness, we could be talking about cooking, we could be talking about anything. And all of those things require you to have game in order to do it successfully. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. And game is like a mindset though. And it's like a learning experience, right? I mean, and just kind of, I look at it as, you're just kind of going out there, you're going through the trials and tribulations and everything. And, it's just how and it's like a process, like you learn from your mistakes and everything. You learn how to, deal with your, frustrations. You learn about like certain awarenesses that you have and stuff. And when it comes to certain areas, and you got to learn if those, mindsets that you have are either serving you or not serving you.
Right. Exactly. Because the thing is, the problem with a lot of times where guys get confused when it comes to game is they're not focusing on themselves and what they need to do to get certain outcomes. So they're looking at the outcomes they're having and they're saying, man, I wish this would be different. But they don't realize that the difference or the change is going to come once they change. So they have to change in order for the outcomes to change. But they just want the outcomes to just change. But it doesn't work that way because the outcomes change in relation to you changing. You see?
No, I like what you're saying because, I still have these moments in my development and stuff because, sometimes things are not going my way and everything, and I'm doing things a certain way. And I have to reflect upon myself, and it's weird because when you look within, you kind of you're like, okay, well, this, maybe I'm the one who's causing everything. It's not the outside world.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing. See, it's just like if a person wants to get fit, they have to go and work out and eat a certain way. So they'll see the changes in their body when they become the type of person who has the discipline to work out and eat a certain way. You see what I'm saying? So if they're complaining about, man, I'm not making, nothing's happening, it's because of what you're doing in the situation is causing things to not happen the way you want it to. Either you're not doing it or you're doing it incorrectly. And so what people don't understand is that it's not only about knowing what to do, it's about knowing what to do, and it's knowing about how to do it correctly. You see what I mean? So you got to know what to do, but also how to do it correctly. Because some people know what to do, but then they do it, but they don't do it correctly. And then therefore they waste a lot of time and then wonder why they don't get the results. You see what I mean?
Right, exactly. Do you think they feel like they kind of fail to realize that sometimes too? Like, I mean, they just kind of like they don't have that awareness, and that's what is causing them, and that's why they keep getting stuck, because they keep repeating the same patterns and everything.
Yeah, usually it's like, because like if a person thinks 2 + 2 is 7, right, and then they keep taking math tests and wonder why they get that question wrong and they never get 100% on the test, is because they don't realize that they're doing it wrong. So a person will keep doing it wrong and keep doing it wrong, keep doing it wrong, because they don't realize that they're actually doing it wrong. So they have to be told that it's wrong and they have to correct it in order to get the correct situation. But people will just keep doing it wrong because sometimes people like to feel like they're in motion, because they want to feel like they're making progress and feel like they're doing something. But the problem is that when you continue to do something, but you're doing it incorrectly, you're going to get, lackluster results or not the results that you want. And then that can make it even worse, because now you feel like you've put so much time and effort and energy into something and then you don't get the result. And then you feel you're unmotivated to continue to progress, because you're like, well, what's the point of doing this if I can't get what I want? So it's important for people to understand that they have to be able to not only know what to do, but also do it correctly. And that's where learning game comes in, is about doing it correctly. And when I say correctly, what happens is that there's different ways to do something, right? But it's still, each way it's being done still has to be correct. So for example, if I can say again, 2 + 2 is 4, or I can say 3 + 1 is 4. You know what I'm saying? So two different ways, right, to get to 4, but they're both correct. So you can do ways, but it has to be in the correct situation. So somebody, like, for example, a person might, like, when it comes to fitness and everything and eating right and getting in a caloric deficit or something, somebody might, watch their calories through the day and eat 3 times a day, or somebody might just eat once a day. You feel what I'm saying? Both can make it to you where you can reduce calories, but it's 2 different ways, but both ways are correct. So the problem is that people, they don't realize they're doing things incorrectly, and then they stay in the same place. You know what I mean? Problem.
Right. No. And yeah, that's important. Just, do you think in order to break out of that, we'll say you're continuing on doing the same thing all the time, do you think like one has to be, develop, try something new next time, maybe? So maybe some guy, approached a girl or something, and he does the same thing, but using the same thing multiple times. Do you think that's something he has to figure out how to refine himself and just kind of, rehearse that when he goes out next time? Kind of like, Steve the Dean teaches people, to rehearse and stuff when you're going out, but don't look at it as an approach.
Yeah. Sometimes what happens is that you might need to try new things, but also sometimes you might need to get coached, because the things that you're trying, some things you may not know in order to get it right. So this is why you got to have a mentor sometimes to tell you, hey, listen, we got to go in this direction. These are the things that you were missing, and now try this, right? And so sometimes what happens is the person who's trying to fix it may not have the knowledge or the know-how to fix it and get it right. So this is why, it's good that they have the motivation to do it and try to, switch it up, and maybe they'll find the way, but sometimes they might not find the way, which is why, coaching is important when it comes to having a coach. You see what I mean? Because the coach knows things that you may not know that'll get you in the right direction quickly, so that you don't have to actually waste any more time. You see what I'm saying?
But do you think, like, if the coach is important? Like, I noticed, like, through coaching, it's good. It's like a good way to get you started. But I think when you go out there and you take the action and initiative, you eventually find a way yourself, your own way of doing things that, because you're kind of refining what you've learned from the coach.
Right.
You make that stronger and everything.
Oh yeah, definitely that can happen too. The thing is though, is that if the person at least learns from the coach, then they're at least going in that right direction. Whereas a person may try to figure it out themselves, and some people do, but some people don't, because there's something that they're missing in that situation. So as long as whatever needs to get done is figured out in a way that is going to be beneficial at the end of the day, then it's fine. The problem is, though, is that when you have a certain mindset or a certain way of thinking, which is usually conjured up through your experience, but if your experience is the experience you have is like, you got there through being ignorant, then that's the dangerous part. Because then what happens is you start to come to conclusions that aren't really true, but they're only conclusions based off of you not understanding what needed to be done. So for example, let's say a guy, he's like, he's approaching women, or he's trying to go out, talk to different women. And then let's say he, I don't know, for something simple, let's say he smells bad. He doesn't realize that he smells bad for whatever reason. Doesn't shower as much, or he needs some different deodorant. He needs something, but he just smells terrible. And
I know that.
So he's going out, or his breath stinks or whatever. So he goes out, he talks to these girls. He's like, why the hell these girls want to talk to me? And it's because he doesn't smell right. His breath stinks or whatever it is. But because he doesn't realize that, he's going to keep going out and doing all these things. And then he's going to be like, what the hell? And all he needed to know was that, you got to fix your breath, or you got to fix this odor. You got to take a shower. You got to do this. That little simple thing that he didn't notice, he needs to fix in order to get to the next level. So some people may not even notice that. And even when I'm talking about that could be anything else. So some people might say, oh, how could a person not know that they don't smell bad? Some people don't, because sometimes when you're around your own smell, you don't realize it because you're used to it. And that could go for any facet, right? It could go for anything. It could be like, oh, I didn't realize that I'm always looking down and having a nervous whatever when I'm talking to a girl. And because they've been doing it for so much, they don't realize that it's happening. You see what I'm saying? And so that's the reason why some people continue to do the same thing over and over again, and they don't think they're doing anything wrong or doing anything incorrectly that's going to cause this to be this way, but they are, but they didn't notice it because they've just been doing it for so much. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. I remember one time I was, this is right before COVID. I was doing some meetup stuff. And I met this one guy. He looked like Mr. Bean and everything. Very cool guy. Found out he went to the same high school. He knew an old friend of mine, which was weird. But he was all the way up here in Arizona, and I remember when he go talk to girls, he was either nervous or I don't know what was going on, but he was just standing there staring because he wanted to go talk to them, and then he'd scare the girls away. And then I said, dude, you can't do that. They're going to find you uncomfortable. You're hovering. You just got to take the initiative and go in there. That's why they're scared away and everything. And then he got all on my case for, he thought I was being rude because I was being honest with him.
Well, yeah, that happens too. Sometimes people don't even want to hear it. They're just like, they don't want to hear, real information, because sometimes it hurts their ego. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to feel like they're doing something wrong or incorrectly, or get work on it. You know what I mean?
Right. I've had that happen a few times where someone in mentor said something, and you get frustrated, but I understand. After a while, I understood why that is. They're just trying to point out your flaws and trying to help you get better. Like being even in the design industry and stuff. Like when I was first trying to apply for jobs in that, just showing my portfolio, I'd always get a lot of feedback, and I got a lot of negative feedback. I mean, good feedback, and I did not take it personally. I used that feedback to better my skill set.
Right. Exactly. And that's what it's supposed to be for. That the feedback is supposed to, teach you the errors so that you can, get better. That's really all it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think too, once you get that feedback, I think the next step too is just developing the right habits. Because I mean, you can have that awareness, but you have to get into the right habits and mindsets too. Right. Because if you continue to be stuck in doing bad habits and bad mindsets, that's going to push you back.
That's real talk.
And and that's something I've always learned. I try to, when I have awareness of things, I just try to think of a way I can, think about a situation differently and stuff. Because I realized, well, hey, the reason why my mindset is the reason why I'm not pushing forward is because of the way I'm thinking about something.
Right. It's true.
So I mean, but did you ever like? I mean, starting out, I mean, did you have challenges? A lot of challenges that you faced, man. And like, and did you ever, a lot of stuff that? But you overcame it if you did, though.
Yeah, I mean, well, back in the day, there was things that I didn't know, so I was confused because I was only thinking from my own young, male perspective or whatever when it came to dealing with women. So what I mean is that, and this is what a lot of nice guys go through. They'll think like I used to do this too, where I was like, well, I'm giving her attention, I'm calling her, I'm hanging out with her, I'm trying to do this and do that. And so I feel like because I'm putting in all this time and energy that I'm supposed to just get her. But I spoke to her, I talked to her, I took her out, I was nice, I did the thing she said and all this other stuff. And so the frustrating part was understanding or not understanding why I wasn't able to really attract the women, or why the women, like I wouldn't be getting sex like I wanted to, or why, a girl would flake, or, I felt like she was wasting my time because I would do all these things. And then all of a sudden she just like ghost or not, want to deal with me. But see, the thing was that, again, like I kept doing things over and over again that, that caused the same results. And so a lot of nice guys do this is because from the nice guy's perspective, nice guys think, let me do as much as possible. And then because I'm working this hard and building all this energy, this energy in a situation, that eventually I'm owed the woman. You know what I'm saying? Like you owe me now. I did all this cool stuff for you. Now you got it. Now I should get this. Because in our mind, it's like, well, if we work hard, we're supposed to get this result. But the problem is that we are working hard, but we're doing it incorrectly. You see what I'm saying? So
I like what you're saying. Yeah, because
right.
yeah, because then that's because when you're putting in the work, but you're not doing the right actions or
exactly
focusing on the right stuff.
Right. And so that's exactly what I was saying, where you do all these things, but you're not doing it in a way that, because this is the thing, and it's really just a small little switch, was that I was making it about the woman instead of making it about myself. And that's one of the biggest things. So it's like, once you start making it about yourself, then you start to see the change in the women when they're dealing with you. Because the thing is, when you make it about yourself, that's when you're the most attractive to women. When you're making it about the women, you're not attractive to her because she just sees you as a guy who's basically doing whatever she says and just kissing up to her and just try to, do whatever you need to do to be with her. But what happens is what makes her attracted to you is seeing you naturally be you. And if you're naturally being you, that means you're making it about you, which means that you're being yourself fully so she can experience the real you. And so the problem is that a lot of guys have been taught, through society or whatever it is, that, to make it about the woman, be this gentleman, be like at her beck and call, like, buy her flowers, roll out the red carpet, do all this other stuff. So then you do these things, and then she's looking at you like, okay, you're nice, you're cool, but I don't feel any sexual attraction for you. I don't feel that energy that I think I should be in. And it's like, okay, now you're just in the friend zone. We can just be cool and friends. And so the thing is that once guys get out of that mindset and they just start being themselves, then they'll start to see a change in the women that they deal with, because women are seeing them for who they really are. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. No, I hear you on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I have, and I have some, I have another friend who's very good at women, but he still carries on to the perspective that women don't care about if a guy thinks about himself. They care more about, he's more into the looks, the money. And he says well, his excuse is, well, you can't get any dates because all the girls can go to these guys and they'll give them money. They'll just take advantage of those guys, so they're not going to choose him. But I tell him, I try to tell him, you got to have a change and change your perspective on things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so we kind of get into a debate about that sometimes.
Yeah, the problem is that what confuses guys with that is that, yeah, of course, a woman will use a guy for his money, use a guy for resources, use a guy to take her out and all that other stuff. But women, I think it's the funny part. Most guys, when they think about women dating, they think women date like, or I should say this, they think women date with one type and then they also date one guy, meaning like,
Mhm.
oh man, this woman, she's women just like guys with money. So if I don't have any money, I can't get any dates because women only like guys with money. So if women like money, then therefore I have no money, so I can't get a woman. So they think every woman wants the same exact thing, and not only the same exact thing, but from the same exact type of guy. Because he has to be 6 foot and he has to have a six pack, he has to have status. So then if I don't have any of those things, I can't get a woman because all women want this one guy or this type of guy. And if I'm
Right.
not, you see what I'm saying? And what they don't realize is that women have an open type, meaning most women have different types of guys that they date or interact with. And like, for example, if you was to, and guys hate to do this, but like, let's say if you were to look at the history of certain women you dated or wanted to date or whatever, if you look at the past, let's say 10 guys they dated in the past, year or whatever it is, in a lot of cases, you might see different types of guys from the look, the personality, all that other stuff, right? Now, you have
Mhm.
women who have a certain type that's their ideal, that they prefer to date, but just because the guy's not her ideal doesn't mean she won't date a guy outside her ideal. Just like how us guys are, we have an ideal type. So a certain guy might say, my ideal type is you know, a brunette girl who's slim and whatever, right? But then
Mhm.
a girl who's blonde, who's has a thick body or whatever it is, but because she's cute or he's attracted to her. So just because he has an ideal type doesn't mean he won't date someone outside the ideal type. Same thing for women. Women who have an ideal type doesn't mean they're not going to date someone outside the ideal type. So a lot of guys think that women only have one type, and then therefore they assume I'm not her type, even though it's just weird because they don't even know what type she likes. But they assume
Mhm.
they're her type because they think they know what type every woman wants,
Yeah.
and then they stop themselves from getting women in general. You know what I'm saying? They just
They're placing a judgment on women by doing that and themselves.
exactly right.
That's the thing.
It's
You
crazy.
know, I was, that's, I was on, actually, I'm going to post another video about the judgment, but I actually was on I have a coaching call, like a business coach that I work with and everything. And, we were talking about that because he was asking me, well, how come when the client turned you down, how come you didn't like go for, try to, do an sales objective? I'm like, and I placed the judgment saying, because yeah, from my experiences, past experiences, like, this guy said no,
Right.
because he's gone, and really it's bad because I could have challenged it, that what he said, and maybe
Mhm.
have gone for that sale.
Mhm. Right. That's what happens. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm like really trying to be more aware of that, and and so this is, I'm still like facing this challenge, but this is something I practice. Is just like when I feel a judgment coming on, just fucking say I want to talk to someone, or I'd say, well, this person's not going to want to talk to me. I just go ahead and do it, just to kind of
Mhm.
exercise that. And
Right.
I'm just trying like to not to be too concerned with the outcome, because like I think like that's going to help me grow. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean that's one problem I always had. Like even when I first started talking to women, I was always worried about being judged. Well, if I go and talk to her, she's
Mhm.
not going to talk to me. And that's something I've worked on, but I'm still working on.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that, I did a video years ago where I titled it Let Her Say No. And basically what I mean in that video was I said go talk to women, talk to whoever you want, interact with her, let her, say what you want to do, and then let her say no or reject what you're proposing. Because a lot of times what guys do is that they reject themselves or they reject the situation before they even see what the situation is about. So they assume, they'll see a girl that's really hot, they're like, I'm not even going to approach her because she's not going to want a guy like me. I'm like, well, how do you know she's not going to want a guy like you? You didn't approach her. So approach her and let her say no. Let her be like she's not interested. Don't assume she's not interested. You have no idea. You see what I mean? And so the problem is that a lot of guys, they think or they assume that a particular type of girl isn't going to want them because they also assume they know what that particular type of girl would like, because they think that a particular type of girl like her would only like a specific type of guy, and they think they are not that guy. But it's all coming from an assumption that they have based off what they saw on the internet or based off what their friend said or based off of trying to talk to another girl who looked kind of like her, and they think because the other girl that looked like her rejected him, that other new girl is not going to want him because she's the same as the other girl. And it's ridiculousness. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I hear you.
Understand that. It's crazy.
No, it's funny. No, it's funny too. Like, even though I know that's, sometimes I fall back into that mindset thing, and that's like, again, you got to have that awareness, like I'm not fucking perfect. I've been a certain way, thinking way for about most of my life, and only these past 6 years have I been working on my own personal development and everything. Right. So I have awareness of stuff. I've overcome stuff, but sometimes I still like go back into that judgment and stuff, and that's a bad thing.
Right. Yeah, it happens, because it's like, because what happens is that's the easier way to make the decision instead of like, being just open and understanding that there's so many variables to different things, and then just making a decision to do something. So a lot of times people's insecurities cause them to make decisions in that manner. So they're like, oh, well, I can just say that girl's hot, and hot girls don't like guys like me. So therefore, why should I even approach her? That's a waste of time, because I already know she's not going to like me. So see, his insecurity causes him to create a story of something that he knows nothing about. You know what I'm saying? He has no what this girl is into, what she's going to like, what type of guy she's going to like, if she's going to like him or not. He has no idea. But he creates a story based off his insecurity or based off his past experiences. And then thinks that's what it's going to be. And in fact, a lot of people on the internet do this just based off of videos they saw on the internet. They don't even have to be their actual life experience. They'll be like, oh, well, I heard on, Red Pill so-and-so said that women are like this. So because Red Pill so-and-so said women are like this, then that means that I don't need to go and talk to that girl, because I already know that her hypergamous nature is going to cause her to leave me and go with this other guy. You see, like, so they already think they know women, but they don't know women in general, but they don't even know that woman specifically, that individual woman. And they're making life decisions based off of ignorance.
Yeah. Well, but you know what? But I mean, and some of the red RP stuff, some of it's good content. Not all of it's bad, but you got to filter out what's good and bad. But I too, like when I was absorbing a lot of that content, like, and I had to, I had to have an awareness at one point, because I realized, when I was going out there, that was keeping me from, actually going out there and approaching girls and stuff, and approaching the type of girls that I wanted to. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna get rid of some of the bad stuff, and still keep some of the good stuff, because there's some cool people in the community, and I still talk to them and do shows and everything. They come to my channel, but I just like some of that stuff. Like when I first read it, because I got so into it, I just like completely. I thought that was the way, instead of focusing on myself.
Yeah, I mean that's also another thing too, is that it's important to focus on yourself and get to know yourself, so that you're fully aware of what you want, so that other people's opinions don't get caught into your mentality and cause you to stop yourself from doing certain things. So a lot of times, the reason why people are scared to make things happen and do certain things is because they're thinking everyone else's thoughts and ideas, versus going out there and experiencing certain things that are going to get them in a more beneficial situation. But also too, the thing is that people have to also be aware to see, why is a certain type of information resonating with you? Meaning that if you're listening to something and it's fear-based, why is that fear-based information resonating with you and causing you to basically make excuses for yourself to not get progress? So what I mean is, if you're trying to become a man who wants to, get the type of women he wants and, date hot girls, whatever it is like that. If you're hearing information that keeps telling you, women are crazy and their female nature is going to cause them to do this and that, why are you resonating with that? And how is that going to actually get you the women? You see what I'm saying?
No, it's not. Yeah, because it's all negativity, and it's going to make you afraid of that. Like, I think that, like, what I've started to learn over the past year and a half, it's all about it's like I like having the mentors. They've got me in the right direction, and I still work with you today. And I think it's just all about going out there and experiencing that, and that's how you figure out what you want, and that's how you figure out yourself too. I mean, I did a show not too long ago with King Dre. We talked about we did a show about like the pros and cons of being a player. So we kind of talked about our experiences being, players, like the pros and the cons, and most of the stuff is just all our experience, and it's a learning experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's, and just, this is the thing, is I always tell people, it's better. You got to go out there and experience things, because experience is going to be your best teacher. Because even, for example, I always tell people this, there's only so much that I can teach a person as a coach. So what I tell people is there's a part of learning they can only learn through experience. And the thing is that no person can teach you the things that you're going to learn through an experience. So the thing is, I can give you a guideline or something to look out for, or something that you can do to create a situation. But what happens is, when you're in the situation, there's going to be certain things you're going to learn based off of actually being in that situation. You're going to learn about yourself. And so it's not about something you're going to learn that everyone else knows. It's going to be you learn that only you know about yourself. And that only happens by you interacting with women in a situation, so that you can really feel that out and learn about you in the situation. So the problem is that a lot of guys, they don't even get to the point of learning about themselves in those situations, because they're too scared to even get in that situation in the first place. So that's the thing about it. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. No, you gotta, I think that's how you live. You gotta overcome your fears and stuff. I think a lot of people let their anxiety and stuff hold them back. And I think once they can challenge themselves to do that, that just makes this, women and everything, and learning more about yourself a lot easier. And plus, I think too, game two is all about growing as an individual. That's what I'm learning. I'm growing as I've been going through this process, and I've had my ups and my downs, and
right.
I've had my experiences and stuff. I just, Afi made a joke here about a girl, back in October. I just lost a girl I was with for a month, and she was a really good girl and everything. And I had my regrets. I'm like, fuck, man, I missed out, because I didn't want a commitment,
So what, she wanted a commitment?
Yeah.
In a month? Oh my God.
Oh no, we knew each other for a year.
Oh,
okay.
I think you meant
she was good. I was just, caught up, with every, with the whole play, the whole game, just trying to, build my kingdom. So it made me have a realization, thinking, well, next time if I ever come across a girl like that, maybe I should take a step by, because I know, if I know the person for a year and they turn out to be really cool, maybe it's worth checking out and just taking a break.
Right. Yeah, that could be it too. Sometimes you gotta, just step back and see exactly what you want, and then assess what you want, and then make moves later when you're in a different situation, and bring that newfound, realization, information to the new situation. You see?
Right.
So
exactly.
About growing, yeah, because a lot of times it's not really even a loss in when you look at it. It's more of a gaining of knowledge to help you better in a later situation. You know what I mean?
And you know what, looking at the situation, I'm grateful of the experience, because it's something I learned. It's about, the lesson, because normally, girls just come and go, so, but, I realized for next time, okay, the signs of a good girl, the one, if I know him for a while, this maybe I might want to take a break if this girl's good, so that's a valuable lesson I've learned.
Right.
So, but see, I've learned too, how to just overcome challenges. It's weird because I sometimes I'm starting to do gratitude exercises every morning again, just to remember everything I'm grateful for. Because when I have my low points in the game with women, I forget about all the experiences, all the accomplishments that I have, and I tend to sabotage myself when really I did a lot. And sometimes maybe life's saying, Rob, you need a fucking break.
That's true. No, it's I like that you said, thinking about what you're grateful for. Because I think sometimes people forget about that, because what happens is you get so used to your situation, and then being used to your situation makes you take things for granted. And then when you take things That's when you start to be ungrateful because you get so comfortable that causes you to take things for granted. Because I never forget, this is damn near 20 years ago. I was at this job and this coworker that I was working with, he said, I forgot exactly what we were talking about, but I remember him saying this. He said, comfortability is dangerous. And I never forgot that. I was like,
again, sorry.
He said comfortability is dangerous.
Oh yeah.
And so I never forgot that he said that. And it's like, when I look at it, sometimes I realize how comfortability causes a lot of complacency, which sometimes causes you to sort of forget that you actually have things to be grateful for because you're so comfortable in the situation that you forget. You understand? You forget all the things that are blessings to you in the situations and what you have, and because it becomes normal, it becomes like, oh, this like you almost feel like you're entitled to it because it's so normal to you.
Mm-hmm.
Realize, and you forget that there's some people who would wish to be in your situation or position to have what you have, even if we're talking about like somewhere in the world, somebody probably hadn't eat today. You feel what I'm saying? And
right. Hasn't brushed their teeth or has no clothes or on the street,
It's like little things like that we forget because we're so caught up in our own situations. And then it's funny because I feel like sometimes we get so ungrateful that we almost look for things subconsciously to be upset about or angry about or feel some type of way about because things are so good. It's like when you hear like someone in an office somewhere and they're upset that the coffee machine's not working. They're like, that's like ruining their day. That the coffee that's how good your life is, that this is an issue. You see what I'm saying? Like it's crazy.
Right. No, that is no. I know a few people who've gotten angry over stupid shit like that. No, but I mean, it's good. I mean, but it causes to me, like game has caused. I said we got the growth caused me to like kind of change, challenge my mindset and believe shit is possible. You know what I'm saying? And it's weird because when I sometimes I look at reflect upon things, not just with women, but in my business, my other side business, like I'm like, God, I can't believe I fucking did this,
Right.
Again, you forgot about it. Like the other day, about a week ago, I was some mentally challenged guy, wanted to interview me about how I became a web designer and started my business. Some of those teachers reached out to me. It was so weird because after I got out the call, because asking me so many questions, I just talked about my experiences and the struggles and everything. I'm like, God, I'm fucking great. Most people would give up.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing. It's like if people really thought about all the stuff that they've been through to get to where they're at now, you know what I mean? They'll realize that they're actually strong and that they can do things and that they can make things happen. The problem is that sometimes we get these things because we're like in the moment we're again forgetting to be grateful for the situation, but also we tend to focus on what's not happening instead of what is happening. You see what I mean? And so it's always the what we don't have versus what we have, because when we have it, we feel like, well, we have it, so now I don't need to complain about it. And now this starts me taking it for granted because I have it. You see what I'm saying? But then that you're constantly thinking about all the other things you don't have yet. You see what I mean? But then the cycle continues when you get something and then you still take it for granted because that's your thought process anyway. And you continue to be miserable because you're constantly also thinking about the other things you don't have. So it's just this big cycle. So a lot of times, the thing is that when you're grateful for it, for what you have and what's going on, right? When new things enter, you're grateful for those things also because you're in a mindset of being graceful. Period. So that's the thing. It's about getting into that mindset, regardless, or getting into that mindset just in general already. You see what I'm saying? So no matter what the situation is, you understand how to be grateful, and then also not take things for granted and then feel some type of way about the things you don't have. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Right. No, exactly. I know. And I think that, it's good to have that because I think, it just helps you deal with adversity when you can realize you have grateful when you are grateful for what you have, and you can be like,
Mhm.
okay, well, I got this. So I mean, if I, when shit's not going my way, I know I can make it happen. You'll figure out a way, and it just challenges you to like be more
Right.
creative in your way of thinking and the way you're going about stuff.
Mhm. Right. Real talk.
So do you think so we're gonna wrap it up here in about like 5 or 10 minutes, but do you think like the game too, do you think it throws adversity our way, like challenges and everything, to see how bad we really want shit
Oh
in
yeah.
life?
I mean that, and I think that's the good part about it, is that it should be challenging, and it should be things that you have to overcome, because that's the thing that um, makes you stronger, and also makes you appreciate when you get certain things. So the thing is, I think a lot of times what happens is people want things without having to put in the work to get it, and having to deal with the challenges that it takes to get to point A to point B. And then so what they don't realize is that in order to keep what you get, you have to become the person that can handle the thing you want. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
To be the person that can handle the thing you want, you got to go through the challenges to become the person that can get that thing, and who can handle the thing that you want to get. So
Mm-hmm.
the problem is that people want things that they can't handle, and they think they can handle it, but it's just in their mind. They want it and think that they can handle it, but they can't unless they do the work to get it. So the work that they do is a correlation between that and getting the thing they want. And so that's what really the game is about. You have to give in order to get. The problem is, when it comes to game, people want to get without giving, and that doesn't work that way. And this is why they're not getting what they want, because they haven't given to the game to get what they want. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Well, you got to give in order to receive, though. That's what I think, though. Like, I mean, I can't just sit around and do nothing and let things like happen. You got to go out there. You got to take action. You got to go out there. You got to fucking fail, and you got to get off your ass and go, move forward when you fail. I mean, I think there's different levels to adversity. You know what I'm saying? And I think I remember. I don't remember which book it was, but I remember saying, you really want it, you're gonna just face any fucking challenge that's thrown your way. That I think, and it's like the life in the game testing you to see if you're really about that.
Right. Exactly. And unfortunately, most people don't realize that the reason why they're not getting what they want is because they're not putting in the work to get it. They just think, oh well, it's just, life is messed up and it's too hard and it's only going to happen for some people and not for me, and all this other stuff. So they have this woe is me thing, but it's like they don't realize that, the only reason the other person has what you want is because the other person went to go get it and they did what they needed to do.
Mhm. Right, like you say, when you go to McDonald's, you know what you want to get. Like when I hear you on your shows.
Yeah, it's so simple. It's like insane how simple it is. But the problem is that when a person doesn't see it or doesn't realize that, then they continuously go in the circle of doing, like we were saying earlier, the incorrect things, and then they end up getting, because this is the thing. A person, the person who's complaining about not getting what they want, the thing that they got is exactly what they deserve for being the type of person that's not willing to put in the work. You see what I'm saying? Like, you deserve
Mhm.
to not have this. You deserve to be in the situation you're in and not be in this other situation you want to be in, because you're here not doing the things that need to be done. You see what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
it's one of those things where, people, because I've seen videos where guys are like, oh, I don't, this stuff is so stupid, Lucario, because you gotta, like, they would say, oh, but why do I gotta approach so many women to get one girl? And I'm like, well, that's what you gotta do. And if you're not willing to do that, then you could just sit there and complain, but nobody's gonna sit there and help you. So either you do that, or you're gonna have to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's gonna be. So the problem is that they don't want to adhere to the actual work. They want to sit there and complain about the work that needs to be done, as if it's like unfair, or if it's like something that, they're trying to find a loophole to get around, and that's just not how it works. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, that's what I was hoping to find at first, is finding a loophole. But I realized it got me nowhere. I think,
Exactly.
like you said, doing the work. I learned by doing the work and just dealing with my mindset and just going out there and taking action and learning from my experiences has gotten me somewhere and stuff, you know.
Right.
And that's how you would get anywhere with anything. Like, and yeah, there's going to be times like I've gotten frustrated a lot of times with shit, you know, and I just wanted to say fuck it. But you know, I took a little break and I'm just get back up my ass to do it. I think sometimes it's good to kind of take a little break, reflect, recharge your batteries, you know, get back in there. Don't take too long of a break, but I found that that's always helped because, you know, it gives you time, chance to reflect and then just kind of take a break from the process and then, you know, recharges you and everything.
Yeah, I agree.
So any final thoughts for the show before we head on out?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for having me again.
Rock on.
And yeah, man, I just want to tell people, you know, that when it comes to the game, you get out of it what you put into it. So it's just really that simple. And I just want to tell people to go to badboymembership.com to join the Bad Boy membership. That's where you get 45 through 90-minute audio and video dating advice tutorials every month. Make sure you also check out the Masculine Identity membership. That's my dude, Miles Cunningham's joint, where he teaches you how to identify a masculine identity so that you can be the type of man that you want to be. And yeah, man, that's pretty much it, man. And again, thanks.
Yeah, I got to reach out to Miles and have him on the show.
Okay.
Miles has a great personality, man. He's funny.
Definitely.
So, but yeah, thank you very much for coming on. Have to come on again sometime early next year and everything. And, you know, definitely always love talking with you about game, women, mindset, and all stuff, you know, just help people out. And yeah, definitely check out Lucario's legit, man. I've listened to Lucario for like 6 years. So, and one of the things that drew me to his material was, you know, when I first listened, it was all about, you know, game is all about yourself and the mindset, which is true because I never thought of it that way. I thought it was all about like, you know, more about just trying to, you know, learn the tricks and tactics to get girls. And really, that's not the real game. The real game is about you. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. And yeah, be sure to check out, you know, my website, Command Your Confidence. Got the book up there for sale, like 5 Pillars of Self-Confidence. So definitely check that out. And we'll be back live on next week with another guest, and I'll announce it on my channel. So until then, peace out, and remember to command your fucking confidence.